I know I haven't.
Like,
I was going to introduce our two guests tonight, but they've already been on screen there, and I'm not going to edit the start off this. So obviously we have got Portadown assistant manager David Miskelly.
Right, folks. Right, Dave.
Obviously more than Portadown assistant manager. You know, you've got a big history of the club, but we'll talk about that. We have Portadown first team coach, Mr. Trevor Williamson. Hi, Trevor.
Hi, Dave.
How you doing?
Two Daves.
And just before we pressed the record button, we were just saying, obviously Dave has had a haircut and Trevor needs a good haircut. So
I like it. I'm happy with it, Dave, to tell you the truth.
That's fine. Everybody at home happy with it, yeah?
No, I wouldn't say that now.
Right, okay. Have you been threatened with the hair clippers?
A wee bit. We're going to maybe do like a number 3 or something, but no, I wouldn't suit it. Like.
Just back inside.
Definitely, Trev. You look like something out of Last of Summer Wine there.
What do you call that now, boy?
Compo. You need Compo's hat on.
Yeah.
I would say, being an Alec Moore man, he probably has the welly boots on there as he's sitting.
Definitely, he'd be sat beside his goat.
Dave, who cut your hair then?
Myself. Well, the wife tidied it up, but most of it was done by myself. It was a lot shorter at the start. That'll be 1 and then 3 on top, but
I think everybody starts out cutting their own, don't they? And then
you done yours? Yours is looking pretty tidy.
It's all right, I think, yeah. So I'm just realising I'm not showing up on screen when I'm talking here, but nobody needs to know me. I cut mine, and then my wife took a look at it and said I better give that a wee tidy up. After protesting that she didn't want to see it cut, but anyway, she's happy enough. She thinks it's all right. So there you go. So how are you both doing? Obviously, we're in lockdown here, and football's not happening. So how are you both doing generally? Are you guys working? Are you at home, or what's happening? Dave?
Yeah, I'm still working.
You're working.
I haven't stopped, and I'm pleased that I'm working, to be honest, because it's getting me out of the house.
Yeah.
January, everybody's okay. It's all good, but just looking forward to getting back to football now, to be honest. Getting bored.
Yeah.
And the more you think about it, the more you want back and at it.
I know. Trevor, are you working during the day, or are you?
Yeah, we're in just sort of skeleton stuff. So Monday to Thursday, basically.
Okay.
So look, it's dead on. Not obviously there's worse things going on in the world. Like, so I think you just got to keep your head down and just do what you can do. And listen to the advice and whatever else.
Yeah. That's good. Just so you're both not stuck in the house the whole time. Then you're out and about a bit during the day, which is good, because I think that's one of the big struggles for people too. It's just being at home and everybody being together the whole time, you know. I was fairly shocked that both of you agreed to come on and do this Zoom interview this evening. You're both probably more, you're both probably more hardworking behind the scenes and don't kind of push yourselves forward for things like this too much. Would that be fair to say?
No, I've never been one for the stuff like this. To be honest, I was railroaded into it last Friday night. They put me forward, Jason and Tippy. So
here.
So
you jumped at the
chance. They're trying to say I'm a bit too honest for this sort of thing, and say it out loud. But we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Right. So have either of you, like, so you're working a bit, and what else are you doing in your spare time? Because obviously, yes, the football's not there, which also takes up a large portion of both your lives in the evening times and at the weekends and all that kind of thing. So how are we filling that time? Have we taken up new hobbies, or are our gardens looking pristine, or what's going on?
Well,
I'm just doing What?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just doing a bit of work around the house, walking dogs. That's it.
Very good. Not even touching the garden?
Wee bit but 2 boys, like, you get them to do it. They got to get some like real life skills done, you know.
Real life.
Don't eat the grass.
No school, but the real world.
Yeah, real world. Yeah.
Dave, what about you? Have you taken up any new hobbies?
I sort of back running again, and seeing the boys and we have them in an app, I sort of felt obliged to be part of it when my name was in it. So I wouldn't say I'm breaking any records, but it's the effort that counts, I suppose. Other than that, I'm getting fed up with Channel 4 daytime TV.
Right.
Place in the sun and 4 in a bed only lasts so long and reruns.
And the reruns have already been rerun before, mostly.
Rerun of reruns. Other than that, no, just
What, Trev?
what's that?
Have you not got Netflix? No.
Yeah.
Aye,
Exactly.
that's better than daytime TV.
Netflix is for nighttime. Mate.
Yeah. Are you only allowed to watch Netflix shows with other members of the family, so you're all watching it together? Or are you away ahead on some things on your own?
Oh no, I'm a meal.
Are you?
I wouldn't watch anything she watches.
Right, okay.
He's into all that Love Island.
All right. I'm going to have to edit that one out, aren't I? Well,
Yeah,
maybe someone will beat that out or something. No, Love Island's
Wouldn't
cancelled.
worry about it.
Love Island's cancelled.
Good.
I know
Thank
they're all
God.
watching. They're all watching this other show about these two young bucks down in the Republic of Ireland falling in love. She's rich and quirky, and he's a wee GAA player. That's what they're all into now. I forget what it's called though.
That's because the GAA players don't get paid, is that right?
I think so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so they need the money.
Good story, isn't it?
Right. Listen. Mixture questions from me and from a few supporters and things like that. So, one supporter asked about the coaching structure. How does that all work? Obviously, Matthew's a manager, Dave, you're the assistant, and then Trevor's a coach, and Simon's about doing goalkeeping coaching and that kind of thing. And so, are there particular roles that you guys fall into? Is there a bit of good cop, bad cop? How does that all work out?
To be honest, Matthew leads the way most of the way. We just, Trevor and I would probably just fire the ideas, but Matthew likes the lead out in the pitch, to be honest, and we just filter in behind him and do whatever he needs us to do. Yeah, we all have our input, but Matthew likes to lead the way on the pitch, and we'll not argue with him.
Yeah, and Trevor, obviously with you, you've been there in the coaching capacity for a long time. Is there obviously there's a role there with a link to the youth and the third team, and bringing some of those guys in and helping them feel part of the first team?
Yeah, well, I think it goes the whole way down. Like I'd be involved. I'd be on the committee in Portadown Youth. So
yeah.
And look, there's a lot of good people there and a lot of hard-working people there. And like I wouldn't say I link it all together, but I know most of the players that are coming through. I know their history. I know how long they've been at the club, their strengths and weaknesses and everything else. And
yeah,
it sort of integrates that into at the first team wants to come up, but there's a lot of people. Neil McCullough's there and Pete's there, and they have a good handle on that as well. Gary McCullough, we've really good people in those roles, and sort of it all comes together. Everybody's got good experience and stuff, and
yeah,
we're sort of all bounce off each other.
Yeah, but I imagine it's nice, but I imagine it's comforting for a lad who's maybe 17, who's stepping up to, well, at 17 at Portadown, you're not stepping into the under-20s, are you? You're stepping into the first team a lot of the time. So obviously you've known them, and then yourself and Dave and Matthew just helping to integrate them into the team there.
Yeah, well, it's an important structure in what we wanted to do right from when we came to the club. Yeah. So having Trev there's an important part of the cog, as well as Neil and Pizza and Noel. Yeah. So they make this transition as smooth as possible. Yeah. Which is easy for us then. We know what we're going to watch, and then we're able to integrate them into where we think. Yeah. And the success is shown, I think, and long may it continue. I think there's more ready to come off production line there and up through the age groups. So
Yeah.
we'll look forward to seeing them in.
Yeah. Seems like a good structure, and obviously it's working well. We've already had plenty of young guys up through, and some of them make it and cement their place in the team, and some of them maybe have a go at it and end up playing senior football at a slightly lower standard somewhere else. But a lot of guys get their chance there, don't they? Whether it's under 20s to prove themselves or stepping in and being involved in even cup matches in the first team squad and see how they get on.
I think there's a big part of success now is just that the kids are still playing football. Like we have a lot get into their first team. I think players under 20, we have the most minutes played by players under 20. Certainly last season, the season before, and I would probably say we would be high up this season as well. But to the other side of that, we would have a lot of players maybe didn't come through with us, but come through our youth system, maybe playing at Anna United, some playing at Loughgall as well. So even if they're playing at all with some at Hanover and stuff like that, and it's great to see those guys still playing football, because I've seen it go the other way as well. And I've seen really talented boys, 15, 16, 17, maybe not playing at all, but 20. It's hard. It's hard, but that's the way it tends to be now.
Yeah, there's plenty of options for guys, isn't there? If coming from junior clubs to senior clubs, or there's not much. It's not a massive chasm between scraping into Portadown first team and playing for Hanover for I don't know, the rest of your career. If you're not, there's only 11 or 15 or 16 players really who can play in each senior team. So there's a lot of people there who love playing football and are good footballers. So they all get an opportunity, and there's a lot of clubs around Portadown. And I suppose Portadown in the last few years have tried hard to make better links with a lot of those teams. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll go. Right. I think what you're saying is right, and it's fine lines really, and it's small things that make a big difference, And there's not exactly one journey that you come through. We have Luke Wilson. Obviously, he's with us from a very early age, and he's maybe a couple of years away at Ridgeway, but came through. He's captain in the club. That's great. And then we have Lee Bonus, who came up through Portadown Youth and then went to, I think it was Portadown BBO Boys, and then to Seagull. He always came back and done a bit of pre-season with us, and obviously he's then came back and he's flying at the minute. So there's different ways to come through. Ryan Carmichael as well. He came to us about 14, and he done really well. And he hadn't been playing a lot of football, but before he came like organised football, So he's came through. So there's different journeys with everybody, but I think there's got to be that wee bit of hunger, and that wee bit of push. That's what goes a long way, and that's maybe what makes the wee difference.
Yeah.
And realistically, we have to be, 4 or 5 years ago, the club had to change its philosophy, and this is a lot of it's down to Trev and what he's produced, and we're starting to see the fruits of it now in the last 1 or 2 years when we came in, but that's the work. That's 4 or 5 years work beforehand. Yeah. And everybody knows what's happened, but realistically now we have to produce our own players. We just can't go out and sign players from Scotland or the League of Ireland. So producing our own players and sending them on to bigger futures is something we get a lot of gratification from.
Yeah, I think a lot of fans play the Euro Millions, and their number one goal is, if their money came in, is to walk into the boardroom and write a check and become the chairman and start signing all over the place. It doesn't work that way. Sure, it doesn't. That's
computer football. That's not real life, is it?
I know.
Everybody would love that.
There's a lot of boys during lockdown playing championship manager, as far as I can see.
It's all about managing your budget, though, isn't it?
Well, this is it. So, very good. Okay, so, obviously football's a bit of an unknown at the minute, Dave, but I wanted to ask you, if and when Portadown go up, hopefully this season, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe it'll be in seasons to come. What would the initial goal be? And also, how far off would a team like Portadown be from challenging in the top 6 in the Premiership? So the first part of that is, when you go up, what's the goal?
The goal, well, obviously to finish as high as we can, but let's stay up the first year maybe. I know that isn't very aspirational, but it is, it's a sort of a journey we're on here now. We've done one, and we can see myself, Trev, and Matthew, we can see, the younger players are getting more mature, and the more they mature together, the stronger we will be in the next year or two. Yeah. So we have to have we have to stick with them and guide them through it, and they'll only get stronger. We've been looking back. I know Matthew has over this time. I'm watching a lot of the matches, and Matthew's on his stats here at the minute, but I think he's on pass completions. I think we're starting to keep the ball a lot more. I know you don't notice it, but these are little things, and that just comes through confidence from playing and having belief in yourself to do what we're trying to tell them. Yeah. So going up, I can't see there being too many changes, because you have to have the belief that they're going to be able to do it. So I think let's look at staying up, but then trying to finish top of maybe the bottom half would be a good season. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, I think so, and I think supporters need to have realistic expectations of that as well. You're in the championship, you're winning most games, or you're not losing many games, put it that way. So you're going home at 4:45 with that good feeling in your belly of your team are winning matches. But once you step up, hopefully you win as many matches as possible, but it's not going to be that same winning feeling every week. But I think what I hear you saying as well is, as those players grow together, then they get better and the team becomes better. So you don't necessarily look to bring in X number of players, because those players who played in the championship and are young, they're getting older, they're maturing, they're progressing together. So hopefully in a year or two, they basically become a stronger team.
And we take the pressure off the boys as well. In this league, playing at Shamrock Park, they're allowed to be shot at, so they're under pressure in a different type of way.
Yeah.
They have to make it for ourselves, whereas when we step up in the Premier League, there will not be that expectation of, a young team like ours, and that's where the pressure comes off, and I think we can thrive on it. So I'll look forward to it, and I'm sure we all will.
Absolutely. Funny, I was thinking, I tried to talk to my wife about this today, but she wasn't really interested in talking about it for some reason. But the thought popped into my head just about, obviously, coronavirus is a bit of a crap thing, and football clubs are struggling and financially, and there was a case there where over the last few seasons, the top 4 in the Premiership have been pulling so far ahead, really, of the rest of the league, in terms of finances and trying to go full-time or 2/3 or 3/4 or whatever they do. But you just wonder then, with all of this upheaval, if football doesn't get back for a while, might that be a wee bit of a leveler again, where, those 4 teams don't find themselves as financially flush or maybe as far ahead either. That's a bit of a weird thing to be thinking about, but that thought did pop into my head today, because you want a league that's fairly balanced, that any one of 6 or 7 teams could win. I don't know what you think about that. Maybe that's ridiculous. I'm only a supporter talking out loud, but you have teams like Linfield and obviously Larne financially, and Glentoran, and all these teams with so much money, and I don't know if it'll be a bit of a leveler for everybody again. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that top, those 4 teams, it's very, very hard to get in around it without that financial backing.
Yeah.
I think it will be, but I don't know. It's an advantage. I don't see that changing. I don't see suddenly some of the other teams suddenly having more money. You know, I think everybody's gonna lose it out in this.
Yeah. Okay. Grant, thanks, boys. Listen, we just have a few questions then about your own footballing journey. So, Trevor, you know, obviously you're slightly older than us two boys, and there might be.
I'm slightly old. I definitely look as young as Miskelly doing that. Seriously, with the haircut.
I wouldn't like to comment on that whatsoever. I'm just going by the facts. You know, I'm 40 now, so I remember I was a 10-year-old.
Are you 40, Dave? Seriously, I took you
for older. You're a gift.
I did.
Let me tell you, Dave. Trev took me at the Milk Cup.
Is that right?
Nice to manage the Scally, yeah. At the Milk Cup. What age you scales? 14?
I was 13 and 14. 2 years.
13, 14. I played him a year young. There you go. No, that's right. I'm 48.
Are you? Okay. So, you know, I'm 40, so when I was 10 years old, whenever Portadown came into that prime time, and obviously you were a young lad playing in that team and around the squad. And so, I don't know, supporters who are 30, 31, 32, that didn't get to experience that in those early stages, and maybe don't even know about your football journey through all of that. And when did you start playing football? Was it a school thing or BB or?
I've been sort of BB, you know. The football wasn't like it is now. It was, you played it under 14 when you're 10, and you played it under 18 when you're maybe 12, 13, 14 coming up. But it was mainly BB leagues, because there wasn't like national leagues, or there's Premier League might have been going, but there was very few teams. BB League was a big thing, and there was a big rivalry there. At the time coming through, even in Portadown, would have been one of the top regions. I think ourselves, I always remember ourselves, Edenbury Methodist, and they would have had Keith Rowan before he went to Bournemouth, and he was super, and Michael Crowe, Big Al Murphy, Jeff McMahon, what a keeper he was as well. Did some really good players, and did a big rivalry with us, you know. But we won most of the time, like. But
you were a good player, you know. There was no Portadown youth. There was no.
Even Ronnie came in.
Yeah.
When Ronnie came in, one of the first things he does, he brought in Barry McCullough, Ronnie Love, and they started up Portadown thirds again, really, from scratch. So, you know, with a lot of boys, we'd maybe played in school together and stuff like that, and we all ended up at Portadown. But yet, honestly, see then, you'd have played, because the BB football was so big, you'd have played in the morning for the BB, and then you'd went and played for the reserves in the afternoon. Stuff like that. You'd been the bench for the first team, stuff like that. You're playing loads of football. I think now kids probably have more organised football, structured training, stuff like that, than what we did. Yeah. But I think we probably played more. We would have, BB Hall, we would have played up to maybe 11 o'clock at night, Friday night, and we'd been up in the morning and playing football morning and then afternoon, and it was great. It was
always like kicking a ball after school as well. Always. Yeah,
well, school. It wasn't even after school, during school, break times, dinner times, you'd play with a tennis ball. That's what you've done, you know. So
definitely something in the water out in Annickmore too, isn't there? There's been a lot of, for such a small rural place, there's been a lot of good players have come out of that. Really?
We had always good players. BB team, Johnny, Mark, and Neil. Woods, two brothers. Yeah. Kelly's a wee bit earlier, but he'd have still played with us a wee bit, you know. But we had some good players, and with Niall Curry would have done that for us. King Turton, we used to play. They were from town, though, you know. We couldn't really claim them boys, but they used to come out play for the BB team as well. Darren Murphy, he's out here now, but he's more of a blow-in Murph, you know.
Yeah.
He's
so how did you end up at Portadown then from the BB? Like would scouts from clubs be watching BB matches? Yeah,
well, a wee bit of that, and then a wee bit in school. I played in a school team, and at Portadown Tech, Tony Bell took that, and it was very, very successful. We won maybe Northern Ireland Cups maybe 3 to 4 years in a row. I would have spanned over maybe Richie Johnson playing, and then Neil McCullough, and then Keith Rowan, Michael Crowe. myself and all would have played in those teams, and
Yeah.
that was successful, and then that carried through to Portadown, and then you'd went thirds, reserves, first team. I was playing in the first team at 16. I think I scored. I remember scoring in the semi-final of, could have been, it was one of the cups, his League Cup or something. I remember scoring that at 16 against Glentoran. Probably played in the first final at 16.
Did you climb on the fence when you scored?
We Dane Murphy got over the fence, I think. He did have a gap. I remember it in TV and all. But I was those days were brilliant, because say before Ronnie came in, because I went and watched the team, and like just going to watch it, you had no expectation at all.
Yeah.
I remember you'd went watched, Glentoran maybe beat you 4-1, but you came out buzzing because Mickey Keenan had made this brilliant save. It was as we things like that, But I came in maybe 16, and then it really sort of it grew from that. We were in finals maybe against Linfield, didn't do well, didn't win, and then that first league one was all about the gypsy curse and stuff like that. And it just it fell into place. Stevie Khan came in, done really well, and with some, the players in that team were outstanding. But there's players who's listening to Neil McCullough's thing. He done an interview, and I read it, and he was saying, like, he played a lot of games that season. Marty McGee as well. Like, people forget about Marty McGee. Marty McGee was harshly treated with a headbutt, but he finished our top goal scorer that season.
That's right.
So there's a lot of unsung heroes. Roy McCready was exceptional. We had a lot of there's a lot of unsung heroes there, as well as the obviously the main players in it.
Yeah.
But it was a wee bit. See Ronnie coming in as well. He came in. He brought a lot of young players as well. Straight out fellow major. He brought a lot of young players who were in Glentoran reserves and played them. They played a couple of seasons before you seen the best out of them. And I think that's where you need to be brave in the situation we're in now, whereas performances can go up and down and the players are young. But if you see that potential, you've got to stick with it.
As a young lad then from fairly local, just experiencing that first league title win, did you take it in? Were you 17? Did you take it in, or is it only looking back?
You look back, you remember wee things. You remember wee things in the run up to it and stuff. But and it was the feeling. Just it was the whole feeling, because it was not pressure, but you're going into it and you're going, this gypsy curse, right? And you're not believing in it, but you're still going, we're playing Linfield. Linfield had beat us, I think, in the Gold Cup after a replay of that season. And I wouldn't have said we didn't have a fantastic record against them, So it was just such adrenaline. I think at the end of that match, it was fantastic, and that gave us belief then, and your belief went into the next season. Then we had all the finals and stuff against Glenavon, and then obviously and doing the double then. But no, I always count myself very lucky. I always think, well, I've seen my local town, my local team. I've seen them win the league 4 times. Like that's great. Provincial teams. What was the most provincial team to win it?
I don't know. I think I read something. I think it's maybe only happened 7 times.
Yeah.
In total, which is mad. Trevor, I'm going to come back to you in a minute. But David, what about your early football days? Where did that start? Did you always want to be a goalkeeper? Were you always a goalkeeper?
No. Same as
Tell me about the goal you scored for us in the BB.
Couldn't recreate that, Trev. Playing me on the right hand side just to play Johnny Topley.
What was this team? Was this like a Northern Ireland BB team?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was.
Was Aaron Hughes in it too then?
Yeah, Aaron Hughes. That was the first year.
Right. Okay.
There was a lot of good players in that team.
So you were playing on the right wing, Dave?
Yeah, mate.
Brilliant.
Wouldn't think it. That was good.
Yeah, and in your early days, where did you play football like before that?
It's the same story as Trev. There was no football basically until you hit first form.
Yeah.
and you know, in a structured kind of way. So yeah, through the junior section in BB was, you know, the most of the football you got, and they were great times. I can't remember getting beaten BB football. We had Stephen Cragen and myself and Gar Skates, who all played Northern Ireland level, and about 3 or 4 others who played Irish League. So we had a real good side. So it was a good upbringing that way. And then at 12 years old, we went to Dungoyne.
Mm-hmm.
We would be sort of the most local team, and just played the local leagues through here up until 16. And I played goals in the company section for the BB.
Right.
And then,
how did you become a goalkeeper? Was it nobody wanted to and you stepped
nobody
up?
else wanted to do it, and I just sort of volunteered BB wise. And then it was funny when I played once for Dungoyne. I was actually meant to go to the schoolboy trials outfield, but we were playing Lisburn, and it was sort of top of the table. It was always like Lisburn was David Healy and Grant McCann and the likes of that, and Aaron Hughes. So our goalkeeper was sick, and they rang me to come and, you know, do goals. So I went there to play with my mates basically, rather than go on the trial. And we drew 0-0. But every scout in the country was watching Lisburn, and they ended up 2 or 3 offers of trials out of one game. I played about
performance. Brilliant.
Yeah. So I only played goals probably about 8 times for Dungoyne, I think.
Right.
And just continued to play out after, and played a bit for.
When I was chatting to Lee and Paddy the other night doing an interview, Lee Bonus was saying he played outfield up front until Neil McCullough, or they were too good, and so he went and he was a goalkeeper, wasn't that it?
I can't believe him.
He was a goalkeeper until Big Neil. He said they were too good, so Big Neil said you go and play up front there, and that was it.
Yeah, well, actually, Dungoyne were linked to Glentoran Colts, so I actually ended up playing a few games for Glentoran. So I became signed under them, and when I went to Oldham, Glens were looking money. I think they're still owed $3,500.
Right.
They never chased it, but that was part of the deal. I only played about three times for Paul Kirk, and then that was me. I left school after GCSEs and went to Oldham for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about England then? 7 years is quite a long time. You know, 16 years old. What was the feeling of going to England? Was it fear and trepidation, or was it laid back? I'll just go with this and see what happens. And
no, it was always your dream when you're a kid. Well, all right, it happened in different ways. You know, it ended up as being a goalkeeper, but no, I just wanted it. It was your dream, and so we went off, and it helped that we were in digs. So I had offers at all clubs, but we went to Oldham, and it was the most sort of family, and it felt comfortable. So went off there, and I loved it, to be honest. And also I met Matthew there, and it helped having someone there. Yes, the first year or two was hard enough, homesickness wise. Sometimes, you know, it's different times of the year, but you know, they give you flights home and stuff, so it wasn't too tough that way.
I remember talking to, not sure who it was, but I think for a lot of Northern Irish or Irish players going to England and Scotland, quite often it's homesickness that ends it, really. You know, you get your first niggle and you're out of the team and you're not playing, and all of a sudden you get that feeling of wanting to go home. And I suppose if you can overcome that and stay, that's half the battle.
Well, I was involved really with the first team from, you know, the second year I was there, so it probably killed the homesickness aspect of it.
Right.
So I wasn't really allowed to go home, but it meant every Saturday I was in round the first team, and you know, I was going to all these grounds, and it was surreal sort of feeling, but you know, to be in that place, but it's what you were getting paid to do, so you had to treat it as a job that way as well.
Yeah, very good. Hey, Trevor, back to you then for a minute. So obviously after Portadown, you headed across to Scotland.
Yeah, went to Raith. That was after, as a double winning season. After it, went over there.
Do you go in the summer at the end of it?
Yeah. I went in summer. So I'd been over at a couple of clubs before. I remember being at Millwall maybe this season before, but I never came to the same. But they couldn't come up with a deal with Portadown, you know. So, but then I'm glad that didn't come off, because then you would have missed the league win and double winning, you know. So I'd rather been here for that, to tell you the truth. But then after that season was over, it was actually Guffer Vannard who had sorted that out with Jimmy Nicholl. I'd been over, I think, at Dunfermline at one stage, and Jimmy was playing there, right. And I'd been over in trial, and he had seen me there, and then he got in contact after that with Guffer, and they sorted the deal out for me.
Yeah. What was that experience like for you then? What age were you then? 18?
I was 18, 19. No, it was good. It was probably a lot of growing up done in that time. Found it hard at times, you know. Went straight, and I wouldn't have been a regular at Portadown, but I went straight over, and there was a wee bit of aggro over the transfer, and I was meant to go initially for nothing, and then it ended up at £20,000, and maybe that helped me. That probably helped me, because it paid £20,000. Then I got into the first team at the start and played a good few games and stuff. Came out of the team then, getting back into it, got injured. You know, it's hard. It's not easy if you're a young lad. It's not easy being away from home. And I would be very, very much would have been quiet and stuff like that. And for going over, rather being at home, bit of a humbug. But it was a great experience. You know, and fantastic experience.
Were you there for two seasons?
It's about a season and a half, and then I'd came back on loan. I'd went on loan to Glenavon for about a couple of months, and I'd done well there, and then I went back to Raith again, and I was on the fringes, and I couldn't get into the team, and so then I think it was there was Glentoran, Glenavon, and Portadown. They all offered 20,000 for me, but because there was aggro,
keep it twice the price, eh?
Yeah, because there was aggro over the transfer. It was like, I remember it happening, and it was Glentoran and Glenavon. There was 20,000 to them, but if it was going to Portadown, it was 30,000. So
right.
there's a wee bit of bad blood at that stage between the two clubs.
Did that play its part in you maybe ending up at Glenavon rather than back at Portadown, do you think?
I think it did a wee bit, because I'd always been Portadown, even though, but I went to Glenavon and enjoyed the loan spell. You know, Dean McCullough was there, and he sort of kept me right. And you know, as a club, Glenavon were very good to me. So once Raith came in and they're saying, no, it's 30,000 to Portadown, that wasn't happening. I went to Glenavon, and that was it was okay, you know.
And so your time at Glenavon, so obviously quite a good very good Glenavon team. It was still 1993-4 type of thing, was it?
Yeah, there would have been McBride, McCoy, Spike, Jeff Ferris was there as well.
Yeah.
And myself, and Alan Fraser was the manager. He's a very good manager, very football orientated, want to go out and attack all the time. I said Dean McCullough was there, and with some good players. Paul Byrne as well, very good player.
Was it at Glenavon? Did you get injured then? Did you get a bad injury at Glenavon?
Yeah, I broke my leg. As we
somebody told me recently. Obviously, 1994 was the year, you know, where Portadown Glenavon drew last game of the season, and Linfield lifted the trophy. But somebody told me recently, if Trevor Williamson hadn't been injured that season, maybe Glenavon would have pushed on and won the league that year. So, I mean, it's a shame you broke your leg, but at least we can still sing. Have you ever seen Glenavon win the league?
I know. The fellas at work give me stick about that, you know.
I'm sure.
It's good. Like I'd work over. I work at the DAC, and they sponsor Glenavon. So, I just dropped
Trevor's away. Dave, we'll come over to you for a second, Dave, while Trevor sorts himself out there. How did your transfer to Portadown come about then, David? How did Ronnie come you, basically?
Well, it was quite a funny one, actually, because at the last year at Oldham, we had done quite well. We were in the playoffs, and we had all been offered contracts, but we were under a money man as such, we were talking about earlier. And when we didn't get promoted, he pulled all that away. But I had actually done my shoulder, and I was out for 8 months, and then I came back in that season, played into the playoffs. But I needed another operation, so once I had that done, I was told to retire professionally, okay. And well, I just didn't know what I was doing with myself, and I can't remember when it was. I can't remember if it was after Christmas or before Christmas we played Linfield. I think it was after Christmas. I think it was about January time, and as I said, I didn't know what I was doing with myself. I was probably in the pub more than I should have been, to be honest.
Right.
And that's where I actually took a call from Ronnie on a Wednesday night. I don't know if it was down watching the Champions League match or whatever, and I had a phone call, and please ring me on that. Don't answer it. Went outside, and this is Ronnie McFall here, so you'd be interested in coming down and training. I said, I'm not really meant to. He said, well, I have no keeper for Saturday.
Right.
So that's basically how I ended up, and I went down the Thursday night. I obviously knew Gary Hamilton out from the Northern Ireland setup, and played on the Saturday. I think we drew 0-0, and I'd have to. And I went to Macclesfield after, but it was probably the worst decision I've made, football wise. I went and just give me the appetite again, but I couldn't do the full-time training. Then came back home, and well, I actually left there early, and I phoned Ronnie and said, "Look, I'll sign for next season."
Yeah.
About April time. But he always hankered on to me there. I think was that the year they lost the league in goal difference. I think that season on the last day, they won 3-0 at Mourneview.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
And he always said, if you'd have been here, we would have won the league that year again.
Right.
So that was Ronnie's way of saying you have to sign. So that's how I signed for Ronnie.
Yeah. Was he? When you hear people talking about Ronnie and signing players, they always say, he was persistent. He was at me for years and years or whatever. So I presume you would have got plenty of phone calls over a period of time. Just
no. As I say, it was that Wednesday night. Trained the Thursday, played Saturday. Actually met him on the Monday again before I went to Macclesfield, and to be honest, I should have signed it when he offered me it, but I'll not go into that. And and it was me that rang Ronnie, to be honest, in April.
Right.
I had enough over it. I knew it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And I rang Ronnie and said, "Look, I'll be coming back home." And we took it from there. I think I signed in the May then.
Yeah.
And that was it, 2004.
And you played a right few games for Portadown then between 2004 and 2016, I think. Over 400 maybe, is that right? Would that be right?
Yeah, there was a couple of seasons probably missed 3 injuries there, a few, one another. The year Kevin was here.
That's right. Yeah.
I missed that season.
Yeah.
Well,
what are some of your like highlights or moments that stand out, or disappointments, and just things that stand out as a player over that period of time? There's plenty, but is there anything that pops straight into your head?
Well, highlights would have been the European Games. The season we beat Skonta Riga away, and then going to Azerbaijan, which was an experience, and the team that we played, to see them playing in the Champions League just shows you what they were doing at that time.
Yeah.
And we were unlucky there, to be honest. Trail, he was there. It great night, performance, and we probably did come away unlucky.
I was thinking of their name, Carabag, isn't that?
Carabag, yeah. To be honest, I'll be pretty blunt. I think we underachieved for some of the players we had. You know, you look back over some of the seasons, I think we probably just didn't hit the heights. I think we had the ability to, but over the years, through one thing or another, whether it be injuries or whatever it was, we just didn't get there. I think we'll go back to probably the season that Matthew played for us. I think that was probably our best. And Shane McCabe gave us a body blow, and I think it really affected our season that year. You know, I think we could have went on and won the league that year if Shane was there. Yeah, I will blame him. I think if he had stayed, I believe we could have went on and maybe done something that season. You know, I think we ended up finishing second in the last game of the season, but I think he left around February time.
I agree with that, because we had a really good team that season. You know, and it wasn't Shane's fault. I think he had a lot of pressure to go back to the GAA, but he was a big player for us and a good team.
Yeah.
You probably forget that some of the likes of the players in it, likes of Jamie Tumblety was, he was different, but he was a real player to watch, and he delivered so much, especially with Kevin and Matthew up front. It just worked really well. It was probably the best team we had in my time playing there.
Clarkey was playing then as well, wasn't he?
Right. Finished second, is that right? Did we finish second?
Yeah.
That was the match at the end of the season, and I remember that because I remember there's a load of walking wounded as such. Like, there's people just patched up. You know, they're playing. I think Clarkey had a thigh injury and stuff, and Jimmy Tumblety as well, good player. And I think did Tippy score? He scored a hat trick, didn't he? He scored a hat trick. Yeah. So. No,
I think that last game of the season, I think even the last 2 or 3 games last season where McKay was out, I'd dominated at Linfield, and then Tudor was playing, and Matthew Paget was playing.
Tudor had a great game against Crusaders. Crusaders away. Tudor was excellent.
Yeah, he kept kicking it to their left winger, and then he put it in the box and kept catching it, didn't he?
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
I think there's some players that are obviously still playing around. There's Padgy and there was Stephen Atchison was playing, I think, that day, maybe.
Yeah.
Padgy actually done really well. Padgy came in and had done really well, and then I remember Distillery, wasn't it? He done his cruciate at Distillery, and Tim Mounts, he done his cruciate at Distillery.
Yeah, I think there was more in the stand at Cliftonville that day than there was actually.
Yeah.
Pitch.
No,
it was like there's always low points, and the low point, of course, there was a couple. It was probably the first relegation.
Yeah.
It was a hammer blow, but a lot of boys stuck together.
It ended up being an enjoyable season, didn't it? You know.
I think it did from a fan's point of view. Got to see a few sights, and then getting up out of obviously automatically was important, and then we actually were successful in that period.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, I think we're
won the League Cup that year too. Do you remember?
Won the League Cup, won the league, and then the following year we made it the cup final, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
With the same sort of bunch of players. So,
but there's some good characters in that scales. There's McCluskey was a big character, good professional. Andy Hunter as well. You know, with some good players, but good characters, strong characters in that squad.
Yeah. Trevor, what about Trevor? How did you get them back into the coaching scene and come back to Portadown and all that?
I'd sort of got injured. So I broke my leg at them, and then I was coming back from that and I tore my cruciate. And the success rate at that stage, I had an operation, but success rate was 85% or 80%, something like that. But I never got back from that. and I was maybe retired. I'd been retired in around 23, 24, something like that. So maybe season out, and Tony Bell had contacted me about he had been at like Tangier Rovers or something. He says, "Do you want to come and coach?" And he got me involved in that, and then once I had a few seasons there, I'd always sort of wanted to get in maybe on the east side of it. And Barry McCullough then had contacted me, and I knew Barry this years, So Barry got me back in. I was helping him doing the reserves, doing the youth team, done some sessions, first team. It just snowballed from there, really.
Yeah. So it's been a long time. Were you ever the Portadown caretaker manager in between all the Ronnie and Big Pat and?
I've done a game, maybe 2 games, I think. So I can't remember.
Was there ever a stage in a month?
I'll tell you what it was. It was between Finney and Pat and stuff. I think it was who was that again? Ballymena. Because remember Luke Wilson, because I think Gary McCullough could have been doing the reserves, and Gary always said, you gotta watch Luke Wilson. It was exceptional, and I went and seen him and stuff. And then that Ballymena match, because I knew I was only going to be in charge one match, so I said, look, I'm going to give Luke his debut on that scales. You were there as well, weren't you?
Yeah.
You helped me? Yeah. And we got Luke on in that game. I think possibly got beat in that game, but we got Luke on, so I was thought that was a success and at that part of it,
Yeah, very good. Was there ever a time during all that stuff you thought, I can't be arsed for this anymore?
I don't know. It's just, I think it's not that you make the choice. I think it's choosing you, sort of thing. And if it's your hometown club, and there's a special thing there, and that goes back to when you played and everything else, and it's your friends, family, stuff that's watching it. I think you just go with the flow on it.
Yeah. So Dave, then when I was interviewing Matthew for the We Are Ports TV thing a lot of weeks ago, he was saying about Sally. He's not sure what's going on with Sally and Lavery. He reckons during lockdown they probably threw their partners out and moved in together. But obviously you and Matthew have a very close relationship going down all the years from Oldham and that kind of thing. And then in 2016, you headed over to Warren Point as Matthew's assistant manager and were fairly successful there. Yeah.
Say hello. No. Yeah, well, it was always going to happen. It was a funny stage. I didn't really want to do anything. I got myself to a point. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't know what I was wanting to do.
Yeah. Did you feel that you were coming towards the end of your football playing sort of thing?
Well, I knew at the time when I finished, I Portadown. And, and it was during that time I did feel bad about it, but it was the right thing to do.
Was it Christmas time? Was it around Christmas time?
Yeah. I'd had a knee operation in the summer, and it was done late, and I wasn't ready to end the pre-season and stuff, and
right.
And it was, and then my opposite shoulder started going. I started having injections, and nothing was working for it.
Yeah.
And then I went and seen a specialist, and like a raised bone, which I needed an operation, and it was going to put me out. Probably, knowing with the other one, it would have put me out for the season. And at the age I was, and probably can't look at it and say, was it desire there? I don't know. At that time, it was a hard time, but I felt I made the right decision. When you look at it, your life goes on longer than what playing football does, and with work-wise and stuff, I've been putting myself out of work, and I just came to that decision. I can get by. If I was to play again, it wouldn't last. But it was time to hang them up. So
you just knew it was the time, and the timing of it worked out more or less then.
Well, I didn't like it because of the situation we were in, but in the end, I was one of the only sort of contracted players, so it was costing the club money, and I didn't want to sit for a season with having surgery having to be paid for and wages having to be paid for, and it would cost the club a lot of money, which wasn't there at the time.
Yeah.
So I sort of made that. It was the right thing to do, I think, because I couldn't offer anything to the playing side of things. So, and now was coming in, and I was one of the last of the old boys there. So I think it was the right thing to give him a free passage to start afresh.
Yeah. And obviously, with you and Matthew being good friends and close for a long time, you guys got a chance to work together again, which I'm sure was great for the both of you.
Yeah, as I said, it took a while because I wasn't ready to do anything. I wanted to enjoy myself for a wee while. And, but then she started getting annoyed with me, and I was just going down to watch the local team, but it ended up having.
You were in the house too much? Is that it, basically?
I was in the house too much, but on a Saturday, I still went down and watched football, maybe met the boys and had a few drinks or whatever. And she was just starting to get on my case, so I just decided, no, Saturdays are for football, so off I went.
Very good. Obviously, you won the championship and you were in the Premiership. How big a decision was it then to come to Portadown when that time came? Obviously, you guys were looking after one point in the Premiership, and we were still stuck in the Championship.
Matthew, I heard Matthew was quite diplomatic about this, but it wasn't a big decision at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
We both played for the club, and I think maybe when I left, it was, you came as a player but left as a supporter. And I have a lot of feeling for people around the club and the club itself, so it was a no-brainer, and it was definitely there was no thinking about it. Once the call was made, it happened, and it happened pretty quickly, and our minds were made up.
Yeah. Good, yeah. And we were very happy to have you guys back, obviously. And, you both have been successful at Portadown up to a point. We're sitting top of the league here with the season potentially ended. How do you both, did you think would be promoted by now? How do you see the season? How do you see football going on from here, really? Is that...
First and foremost, well, football's in the back burner at the minute, I suppose, in that sort of way, with everything that's going on. But I'm coming around. The decisions need to be made here now, quickly, and one way or the other, they have to start, laying it down. I think people are in limbo. Contracts are going to need to be talked about, things like that. So my belief over the next 10 days, I think it could be a clearer picture. I think in that time scale, we need to be knowing what we're doing. I don't think the infrastructure is in place to do what the likes of the Premier League in England are doing. I think it'd be false hope if we kept on going and hanging on with the possibility of playing. So.
Yeah,
I've been through permutations and how things can work, and I started off and thought, well, can we make 4 teams up to make it a 16-team league?
Yeah.
Would that work? Can we go?
It would work. That's my favorite. That's my favorite choice.
I think it would actually work for a season, maybe. We make it interesting because I think you could relegate, 5 at the end of the season after.
Yeah.
And we'll make it an interesting season, top or bottom, but I don't think it's realistic. Let's just say at the minute, I think, and some of the clubs around Europe are starting to do it. I think Portugal have decided they've stopped and promoting. Germany, they're going to play. Holland have stopped and awarded. And Scotland have gone the same way. I think we can only, work it out in sporting merit business and take it from there.
Hopefully that means promotion for Portadown, yeah.
Well, I can't see why not. I think there's more like there could be more legal challenges. If they void a season, who's going to repay all the wages and all the and refund
and all that too,
season tickets and all that?
Yeah.
I think there's big questions to be answered, and we can't lose European money by voiding the season either.
Yeah.
And the European money it filters through the league, because that'll go, and the points and for the following season, which will probably, if we don't play this year, we'll end up with maybe 3 teams in Europe, whereas I think next year again it could be up to 4 teams. So we just need big decisions need to be made, and the leaders need to stand up and make them.
Yeah.
People aren't going to be happy, but people aren't happy that this thing's happening in the world. So
decision one way or the other, basically, because in order to give people contracts, you need to know what division you're playing in, for one thing. So Trevor, what do you like the idea of a 16-team league? Or?
Yeah, I remember 16-team league. 16-team league was good. Somewhere new all the time. It's just, again, it's money, because when they went to the smaller league, so they can get more games, more derbies, more money.
Yes.
So, but I don't think there's an easy way out of this. I think it's very, very hard, be it that you're in the Premier League in England, or even people just talking about the Premier League playing behind closed doors. But then what happens Championship? What happens here and there? It's very, very, it's very hard, and there is no easy way out of it. And I think the fact that the season's, I think it's over 80% played.
Yeah.
If this was 30% played, you would just void it, but it's 80%. Like, there used to be a rule, and I know that rule changed, but there used to be a rule in a match. If you're playing a match and it went over 70 minutes, and over 70 minutes, and unforeseen circumstances happened, that match would be awarded to whoever was winning. I know that's changed now.
I think it was 75 minutes. You're right. In that way,
it would have been 70 minutes. If it's 70 minutes, that works out percentage about, must be about 78% of the match, of the match, and we've played over 80%. But I don't know. Look, there's no easy way out of it for a lot of teams. It's one team can be slightly happy with, another team's going to be devastated with it. Even with Europe, will they even play those preliminary rounds? When are they going to play them?
Yeah.
There's that many questions. I don't even know that they'll be back in August. Well, behind closed doors, they'll play it. Maybe with the European games, maybe you can, because you're getting the money already. I don't know. But then you play football matches without fans. It just goes again. Yeah.
It's not good. The only way they're going to be able to do that is, if they're going to subsidise it, because the clubs can't afford to pay referees, never mind players. And there'll be heightened stewarding. You'll probably have to bring specialist stewardings in. And obviously the testing will have to be done. So that's just not it's a non-starter in my eyes.
Yeah.
I know I heard something today.
How do you ethically have testing going on when people stand? People need tests more than what footballers do. Do you know what I mean? To play a game.
That's it.
And I heard something that somebody was talking today, and they mentioned to me about Ballymena and Windsor hosting games, because behind closed doors games, and that I think people just listen to too much Sky Sports News, to be honest, and they were thinking they could hold the games because of the changing rooms and the facilities, and they would be able to be played there over a certain amount of time. But
at the end of the day, if players are in the box and a corner's coming in and they're cajoling and being close to each other, and you just can't see it happening, can you? A player scores a goal to win the league, and what does he do? Go and stand by himself in the corner, and nobody celebrate with him. And it's we'll have to see. But yes, I think ultimately they need to make a decision very quickly on it. One way or the other. People know.
I'll be disappointed for our guys, to be honest. Not to have the chance to win it in the pitch, because for them young lads, it'd it'd be great for them to have that experience of the celebration and winning it on the pitch. And, you know, it would, but I mean, young lads are young lads now. They play a lot of PlayStation, so they're probably used to just going away and winning every game. But I would like to win it on the pitch.
I was going to bring the interview to a close there, but I don't want to end on the boys just playing their PlayStations, you know.
Well, I'm sure that's all we'll do, isn't it? I think Bonus has been stuck to it. He actually sent me a link the other week. He was playing in some competition and it was against Glentoran.
Right.
On the PlayStation?
Did he want you to watch?
He wanted us to watch.
Brilliant. That's class. Dear. Listen, when you're complaining about things like that, it's a sign that we're all getting old, I have to say.
It is.
That's what happened.
Listen, thanks very much for your time. That was a good chat. Enjoyed it very much. And I suppose we'll just have to wait and see what unfolds in the next week or two. But hopefully the season is brought to a positive conclusion for Portadown. And
Dave, you're good at this, actually, aren't you? You're like a young Terry Wogan. I just thinking that, like, you're definitely, you do well at it, like.
I feel like
he could actually sort Arlene and Michelle out, couldn't he?
I was going to say the first part of what you said was nice, Trevor, but then the second part about Terry Wogan, I don't know.
There is a resemblance. You let your hair grow like mine.
Did you watch Michael Jordan, Dave, by the way?
I haven't watched it yet, no. Paddy McNally was talking about it in his interview. It's good.
Some show.
Is it?
One to watch.
What's that on? Michael Jordan. Is it a documentary?
Yeah.
You get Netflix and Annickmore, Trev?
Well, look, here's the thing.
Dave, I'll tell you something. There's an airport in Annickmore.
Right. Fair enough.
You didn't know that.
Right. That's Trevor's back garden.
I think it is. He's the only pilot there too.
I am a pilot. I'm an airline pilot. Here.
There's something sensible there.
Sorry?
Were you going to say something sensible there before we go?
I can't remember now. Scales put me out. What were we talking about?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Netflix.
No. Netflix. No, I'm talking because he's talking about the internet, right? Now, internet's real slow. So, see, the last 2 weeks, maybe it's 3 weeks, we've been having like a quiz. You know, the players, and Tippy does the quiz master and stuff. And it's great crack, honestly. It's brilliant. It's on WhatsApp. And it's brilliant. But I'm getting the answers, right? But by the time I type it, and by the time the internet brings it, I'm coming like second and third. It's not fair. I don't think Scales, is at one. I think Scales and the bonus, I don't think they've one correct answer yet.
I'll get over Trev.
You know your phone signal has to go to space and bounce off a satellite and back, like. So Annickmore is probably just a wee bit further than Belfast or whatever.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know it. Must
right,
be.
Listen, I better go and edit the few swear words out of this before we post it anywhere. So thanks very much for your time, gentlemen, and hopefully we'll see you at Shamrock Park soon.
No problem.
Cheers. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah.
All
the best.